What is your excuse? He's a liar. Neighbors with this dude. Claims he only ever met him once. Lived next to him for 20-some years.
That's crazy.
Proven liar. Advising the President of the United States every f***ing day.
What's up, guys? Like pretty much all of you, I was disgusted by this latest round of Epstein files, emails, all the stuff that's been released. This case is obviously one of the worst cases, if not the worst case that I've ever seen in my life, and somehow it keeps getting worse. So every week, producer Joe Deef and I do a show on Patreon and YouTube members only. This was that show for this past week, but after I released it, many of the patrons and members were insisting that we make this one public. So we are doing that now. If you would like to see more content like this, you can join the Patreon or YouTube members via the link in my description below. Otherwise, we will have much more public content coming out on the Epstein files as we get more information. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and enjoy this episode.
Because Kushner was working on the Abraham Accords, which would need cooperation there from Saudi Arabia. So he did have influence, but I think the human source is exaggerating when he says that. I think you have to be fair when you look at this. But the reason that I always have to look at the Israel-Trump thing is because it is the one thing, like there's no one who is more aware of polls than Donald Trump. No,
He loves polls.
Loves polls.
Loves them.
And once a poll is 51-49, it's a blowout. That's how he treats it, because he recognizes as long as you have the smallest, slimmest majority, you got enough to win.
Yep.
And so any poll related to how United States citizens, left and right, feel about the relationship with Israel, and any poll about United States citizens, left and right, about how they feel about Jeffrey Epstein, these are the two polls that Donald Trump just fucking trashes and ignores and takes the hard opposite on no matter what, and then openly jokes about things in front of us, in front of the mic, that no one should ever joke about. Joking about one of your biggest donors, Miriam Adelson, always coming into the White House, and how, you know, well, she might be more loyal. I think she's more loyal to Israel. Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And it's not, this is where I get pissed off. It's not anti-Semitic to say that. I'm talking about another government. No one calls me anti-China Semitic. No one calls me anti-Russia Semitic. No one calls me anti-Saudi Arabia Semitic when I say shit about their governments and the influence they have here. It's fuck everybody that has an influence. I don't pick it to one place. We're talking about it with Donald Trump because there's one place that seems to have $232 million worth of known public influence over him. And he's making some decisions that are questionable. And when you see these files and you see who Jeffrey Epstein is coordinating with, there's no doubt who he's working for. And that has to be called out, friend or not. All right? Like, there has to be some sort of understanding here, because something like this can never happen again. And I've always said it, and this is the really uncomfortable truth, and it's not fun, and I don't support it in any way, but I try to deal in facts here. These kinds of things, sexpionage, if you will, sexpionage involving minors as well, this is not just an Israeli thing. This is something that intelligence agencies around the world do, dare I say, ours included. It is a sick form of spying that should be stopped in all its forms. Even with spying, there has to be a line somewhere. Just like we've had nuclear bombs in this world for 80 years, and despite all the despots, dictators, scumbags, fascists, communists, everything that's existed since then, it is one thing everyone has had just enough fucking decency on. Perhaps with the help of aliens. You never know.
Careful.
To not hit that button. There needs to be, and it's mutually assured destructionville, right? There needs to be a mutually assured destructionville on this kind of sexpionage. You want to lure some fucking ambassador into a hotel with a 27-year-old hot woman who's really a spy because you got to get him as a source. All right. I guess that's your spy game. Fine. That's legal. I don't like it, but that's what they do. Fine. I draw the line at 12-year-olds. Islands, temple fucking sacrifices. You know, and one thing these emails are not going to help with, and I understand why they're not going to help, is with people who go nuts on conspiracy theories, on other conspiracy theories that aren't Epstein. They look at this, and I have to see it from their lens for a second, even if I still think a lot of that shit is wrong and doesn't have evidence. They look at this and they go, come on. Look at how open and overt. Of course, that means this other shit's all real. Which is part of what it feels like. This is the other thing.
Yeah, is it a mass psychosis? Like, that's what I think, too. That's another part. That's where my brain's been going the last, like, week.
Right?
Just because the way, like, I'm talking about it with, like, this is a topic of discussion I'm having with, like, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, people, like, you never even talked about these kinds of things with will be like, dude, did you see this shit? Like, nothing's real. Like, dude, like, isn't it crazy that all those years of, like, smoking weed and watching Pizzagate videos and now, like, it's actually, like, being confirmed?
Right.
It's just, like, I feel like, I'm like, wow, is this kind of the playbook, is to just get a mass psychosis of everyone just losing their fucking minds? And then you're not being able to discern anything.
It's a fair point. I've looked at this, and don't hear me wrong on this. I'm not making a joke of this. I'm saying this is
none of this is jokes.
This is the bizarre nature of it. These emails feel like almost an outward, long-term plan of memification. And what I mean by that is just start at the top. Read what his email @handle is. Steve? Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, it's gvacation@gmail.com.
JEE vacation.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking build a email AOL account that your grandpa made in 1999 for shits and gigs for retirement.
Well, I mean, didn't we say that a few Patreons ago, or am I misremembering? Didn't we bring this up about how
we
that's
might have.
Because, like, you even, like, I know I've been off socials a few weeks, but you go on, it's like memes are, you know, shithead Steve, like, they're making, like, Epstein catered memes, like, damn, I ain't even make it on the list, for real. Like, that's not a psyop.
Yeah, the typos that you see in these, and like even his sign off is like, so on some of the automatic, you know, sent from my iPhone includes sorry for typos.
Yeah.
His typos are terrible. And yet people have also found in the files that Ghislaine and Jeffrey, and I got to look more into this, but Ghislaine and Jeffrey had accounts under pseudonyms for everything.
Oh, yeah.
From Pinterest to Yahoo.
Yeah, did you see the Reddit one? r/poll, that fucking Nazi subreddit. Like, he was involved. The guy started it the day after he met with Jeffrey Epstein.
So also, meaning he was technologically in the game.
Yeah,
and
that
advanced.
both of them. Yeah.
Advanced. He couldn't type for shit, but he was advanced. And that's actually a sidebar I want to take for a second. There are a lot of people who are reviewing the 2 to 4 hours of footage that's been released from some of the Steve Bannon interviews, at least 2 sit-downs. Steve Bannon did 18 hours on camera with Jeffrey Epstein. So we now have like 2 to 4 hours of it. There are a lot of people saying like, oh my God, this guy was a retard. I think when Jeffrey talked about science, he was trying to kick up, meaning like he would talk about some things that's like you don't really know.
Yeah, he heard it at a lunch with this dope scientist that he's friends with.
However, and I still need to see more, and I'm glad I never did. I never had a chance to meet with this guy personally, so you can't fully decide this off of just watching video of him talk and reading his emails, but more the video of him talking. Emails are really tough to decipher this kind of thing. But I have known people who talk like Jeffrey Epstein does. And I've known, in some of those cases, very smart people who talk like Jeffrey Epstein does. And let me explain that. He stutters, he bounces around, but he's talking about complex things. And right away you say, okay, well, that could be charlatanism for sure. And that's still a very big possibility. But when he was talking about financial markets and making some of the points about money and how it works.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I was on Wall Street. I can't say that I keep up with that stuff, but like it's clicking. He's clicking.
100%.
And what I mean by I've known guys who communicate like him is this. There are guys whose minds think so fast that their minds are ahead of the words coming out of their mouths. So they stutter around. They can't they're not amazing communicators of how to express it, but they're geniuses. I'll give you a great example, actually. A friend of mine, actually, I don't want to call him out by name. There's a friend of mine who I had on the podcast once who was a literal genius. I mean, fucking seeing fractals that you and I can't see. His mind goes so fast that he talks like Jeffrey Epstein. And you're like, wait, what did he say? And then after like 3 minutes, you piece it together and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, he's cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you then combine that with the Coney Island accent,
I was going to say.
it is like actually the best cover ever because it puts people around you at ease when you're around smart people because their instant thought is that, this guy's retarded. And then an hour later, they're like, oh, wait a minute. And then they wonder what they've said in that hour. It is a perfect access spy thing. Because as long as he can stay in the conversation with people and not literally get kicked out, which he had a good ability to do apparently, he knows he's going to get information and he knows he's going to be able to use that information. He knows he's going to be able to build on that information. And so I'm going to take a contrarian take here and say that, I can't say this with 100% confidence, but there is a chance that he actually was not what all these people like the Eric Weinsteins and all these other people have described. I'm not calling them out. I'm just saying you hear all these smart people in hindsight say, oh, I knew he was a total idiot right away. Total charlatan. I had no idea what he was talking about. Some of that I think is rewriting history to try to make it sound like they pushed him off. And some of it I think is actually making the wrong assumption because they're not realizing what he's clocking. I do think there was intelligence there. Again, on the science stuff, I think there's a little bit of like, trying to act like he's an expert on gravity or something. He's not really an expert on that.
Excuse me.
It's clear to me why he was able to get around some of these people and build such a network.
He's an educated
Like
Jewish New Yorker from Brooklyn. Like,
Yeah.
I think anyone who is making that argument of like he doesn't sound smart is probably just like some like good old boy from the South or some jerk off from Kansas. No offense, folks. I'm just joshing you. But actually, like,
So there's a video I want to put up on the screen. Let's get to this part
all right, you're gonna have to play audio through
through my.
your mic.
Okay. So let me just airdrop it to myself. But Ehud Barak is a very well-known name in Israel. He started his career as an Israeli commando in their special forces, eventually rose up all the way to be prime minister of Israel. He succeeded Benjamin Netanyahu after his first term in 1999. He beat him in the election and was the prime minister of Israel. He's a power player over there, someone that you still see all the time somehow on the news. He'll fucking go on Piers Morgan and talk about Israel. I don't know how, because he's been very, very exposed as a close friend of Epstein. There were pictures of him going into the mansion like with scarves around himself back in 2011, 2012. It is a known thing that he's around Epstein. But again, there's publications trying to push that Epstein was a Russian spy right now with a straight face, which is hilarious. But this is a recording, and I'll play it on here, as you said, of Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak. I don't know the year on this, but it was somewhere in like the 2013, 2014, 2015 area, where Jeffrey Epstein is talking about a post-Israeli government career for Ehud Barak, who was freshly out of the actual government. And he starts pitching him a very interesting company. with a guy that we're going to talk about. in a
Oh, I
minute
think I
as
know.
well.
If I had to
You know
guess.
the company?
Starts with a P if I had to guess, but
It's a very good guess, Steve. Here we go.
He thought there was two cyber companies. Look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel, and everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir, Pallen.
Spell it wrong.
Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company, and look out.
Palantir, Palantir.
Yes.
Spell it right.
How you write Thiel? Thiellly.
Thiel.
Lly.
No. Thiell.
Okay.
Spell it wrong again.
So he thought
They're
that Peter would
boomers.
put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, they pay Larry $1 million a year. Just to advise them.
Andreas and
Andreessen, Andreessen, and Horowitz.
Howard.
Horo, Horowitz.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
Well, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys. So those two companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now in the next 3 weeks if you're going to leave.
So that's exactly what it sounds like. And it's interesting because Palantir was obviously founded in the United States in like 02, 03 with a serious investment from In-Q-Tel, which is the VC arm of CIA. And in recent years has been instrumental assisting the Israeli government, including in highly controversial things as it relates to the prosecution of the war in Gaza. And it's interesting to me that 11, 12 years ago, Jeffrey Epstein is pushing for Barak to get on the board
right.
of this thing. That part is fascinating. So Ehud Barak also had an email server leaked. Maybe this is like the end of last summer. And the back and forth between him and Epstein was dense, absurd, you might say, just like fucking crazy. And they had businesses together. They were working on clients together.
That's good.
You know, what do you think they were doing it for? Because they just happened to be two friends that were neighbors. Fucking guy lives across the world. You know what I mean?
He's a Russian spy.
He's a Russian spy, that's right. So it gets uncomfortable when you see it get to American companies like that where they're talking about trying to, basically like penetrate it. But there is also nothing more, and Dave, I don't know if you want to pull up on your computer Jmail. Give me 1 sec. We're gonna pause for 1 sec. I just want to grab something on my phone. Okay. So here's a quick intermission. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. So one guy who I cannot believe has a job today. Like, I actually can't even fathom the fact that he has a job and has one of the most important jobs in the country right next to the sitting president of the United States is Howard Lutnick. Okay. Howard Lutnick is the current Secretary of Commerce for Donald Trump. All right. Now, I've defended Howard Lutnick on some cases in the past, talking with people. I'm going to savage him right now because that is what he deserves. He is a liar, a con artist as a result, and by my accounts, therefore a scumbag. Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in New York is 9 East 71st Street. Do you know who lives on the other side of his wall?
Who?
Howard Lutnick.
Nice.
Howard Lutnick, and I knew this, purchased that place, which I believe is, I want to say 10 or 11 East 71st Street, whatever it is. It shares a wall with Jeffrey Epstein. He purchased that place from Epstein and Les Wexner's trust in, I believe, 1998. All right? And as far as I know, he still owns it. I do have to say, even the great Leonardo DiCaprio should probably be taking notes from Howard Lutnick on acting. He's an amazing actor. An amazing actor, because Howard Lutnick gave an interview, I believe this past summer, on Podforce One, fucking podcast on the New York Post. Whoever named that should be fired. But he gave an interview where he addressed this within the past 6 months, and talks about like the only time he ever spent around Jeffrey Epstein, which allegedly was like 7 years after he's been neighbors with him, which I don't think anyone's buying that. But let me just play what Howard Lutnick says here with a very, very convincing face. You got it, Thief?
Yep.
Here we go.
He opens the door, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room, and candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Really? So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross. And so I look back at it as a gift.
Yes.
He gave me a gift of a void.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my story. A one and absolutely done.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Howard. So that was in 2005. For context. Disgusting individual. Notice how his eye, when he went to hit the line of like, I will never, ever, his eye twitched like that. I just a lot of little signals there. But anyway, Howard Lutnick lied. We won't bury the lead. This individual was so disgusting to him, so disgusting. That, before I even do this, can I also play this video of Howard? This is Howard a few months ago at the White House when someone asked Trump about Epstein. Watch him laugh his ass off in the background like a little bitch. Here we go.
They're both very good. The two Kevins, very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein?
He's laughing.
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think...
Oh, it's so funny.
Here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Okay.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax.
The whole thing's
It's
a
put
hoax.
out by the Democrats because we've had the
Yeah,
most
okay.
successful
All right,
6 months
that's
in the
enough.
history.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Such a fucking slap in the face when he says that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's just such a slap in the face, and there's no one it's a bigger slap in the face to than the people that voted for him. So all of you out there, if you voted for him, obviously,
And
this is breaking a promise.
has it been the most successful 6 months?
I don't think so. I mean, I can look objectively at some.
No,
you
that's
know,
what, like I'm actually asking objectively.
No,
Like
he
it's
just says shit like that. But for Howard Lutnick to laugh
yeah, what a scumbag.
at that.
What a fucking
Let me use
scumbag.
his dramatic to laugh at that disgusting individual. Just funny because, when people are remembering over a decade ago, sometimes I'll give them the grace of a year, maybe 2 years, right? Sometimes you're a little off. Like, oh, was that 2010? It might have been 2011, right? Sometimes people are a little off.
Yeah.
Once it gets to like 3 years, it's like, I don't know if I could be that off about 3 years. 4 years? 5 years? Nah. 7 years. To be 7 years off in your recollection of when you decided to stop associating with someone. Yeah, that's past my
really
line.
tough, dude.
So now that I've been pumping this up and getting this ready to go, also fuck JD Vance's attitude about it as well. I just want to say that this is a guy who used to openly tweet about the Epstein files and getting transparency there and why everyone's being covered up for, and now he's doing the covering. And I find that abhorrent.
They got to stop like sticking to like their stupid little homemade terms too. Like still calling things fake news in 2024. Like it's so
gay.
Yeah, it's so gay. It reminds me of like
agree.
little like middle schoolers.
I agree.
It's so fucking stupid.
So this is an email from Howard Lutnick to Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, Howie.
December 19th, 2012.
And then he said 2005.
Over 7 years since that alleged massage table walkout.
Wow.
Hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's/Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? As in, what is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Mary Lerman, with me on my boat. This is the wildest part right here. And each of us has 4 children. Doesn't list their names. I want to point that out. He says 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. I remind you, this is 4 years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted. How this guy has a job today is a disgrace. There is no room.
That's disgusting.
For nuance here.
No, that is disgusting.
Fired! Fired! I'm done with these fucking people. Fire this guy right now. What is your excuse? He's a liar. Neighbors with this dude. Claims he only ever met him once. Lived next to him for 20-some years.
That's crazy.
Proven liar. Advising the President of the United States every fucking day. I'm so done with these people, man.
Yeah,
I'm so fucking done with these people.
That is absolutely abhorrent.
I'm so fucking done with these people.
And I gotta fucking file taxes in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
What?
That one just.
That is disgusting, dude.
And nothing will be done. That's the thing. He'll have a job. He has a
That's
job
so
today. He'll have a job
weird.
tomorrow. He'll have a job next week. He'll continue advising.
What is the conversation when he's like, "Hey, I'm about to email Jeff back. You're 4. What are their ages? What are their ages? Like what a fucking weirdo.
No names.
No names.
If he had put names.
No.
Hold on.
Stacy, age 13.
Hold on.
Like,
if he had put names, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say. But the just ages.
So weird.
And he's his neighbor. He knows he got convicted.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
oh wait, the guy next door. He hadn't been here for a year and a half?
Dude.
No.
That's gossip on the doorstep when the stroller passes by. Like that's
he knows.
You know that.
He knows.
Oh my God, what a sick fucker.
And it is just very hard to not be cynical when you have it. To quote Ari Gold, now, you know what? Actually, it's an inappropriate.
Yeah, I was
quote
gonna
Ari
say,
Gold right
I
now.
don't know if you should.
Let me not do that with this topic. That's I love Ari Gold was a great character, but that is so beyond the pale for me.
Oh yeah, that is.
So fuck that guy.
Wait, now I have a question because you brought up how he was so many years off. Has someone like addressed this with him? Like, so no one's even asked the question yet?
Nope.
Oh, dude, I hope that's just a matter of time. I want to see how this fucking dumbass answers that.
It better be. And like, when you got me like defending CNN, you have really fucked up. Caitlin Collins was asking from CNN, was asking, she's like the White House press reporter for CNN, was asking Trump about the Epstein files. He just started ripping her as being a miserable person and, you know, working for CNN and pushing a hoax. It's like, guys, are you really going to take this?
Yeah, no, people are, dude.
Are you really going to take this at this point? You know, like...
I know people, dude, who are just like who are all in on whatever bullshit he's selling right now. And I'm just like, you are stupid.
You remember like when people would say, like hardcore left people would be like, this isn't about hot politics, it's about human rights. And they would openly be talking about some sort of like wild political situation.
Yeah, no.
This is one situation where if they say that,
yeah,
they're right.
100%.
They're 100% right. This is not
100%.
about politics. And, you know, people get very political these days because the parties have let them down. The Democrats lost their mind for a fucking decade there, still haven't figured it out. And it feels really strange when if you're someone who then was like, well, fuck that, and went to the right side, I'm sure it's got to feel strange now seeing that like some things over there seem to be patently fucked up. But like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I've said this for a long time, and it's always funny when I talk, especially to older people who are left or right about this, and it just, no matter how smart they are, it doesn't clock for them.
Yeah, well.
There's no such thing as a Democrat and a Republican. And hear me out.
That's what I was going to say. I agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
There are people who have wildly different ideas as to how to arrive at solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And those ideas objectively, if you're going to look at a political spectrum, fall on one side or the other or somewhere in between.
Yep.
A lot of that has been manufactured by the elites for centuries to get people towards breaking for some of these ideas that they then break for everything that associates with that team, which is what human beings try to be a part of, a team, to divide people and distract them from the real things that happen, the things that actually affect their life. Because to quote Richard Nixon in that famous story I've told a million times that Jimmy Carter tells about when he got advice from Nixon upon coming to office in 1976, you know, people in Congress, they're just going to move shit 5% one way or 5% the other. It's all bullshit. They fight over healthcare, taxes, the same shit. You know, little bit happens, not much. But the foreign policy, that's where you got power. And his point was, you know, just let me translate that. The things that happen behind closed doors with the men in suits where it doesn't have to go to some fucking public vote, that's where you actually move the needle. And the people that run the world, which are the people in those rooms that include the politicians and the people that pay them, they don't want you to know what they're talking about. And they don't want you to know shit like this. You got a guy from a JEE vacation account sending emails on one day to the ex-Treasury Secretary, the fucking royal family of Norway, 3 fucking genius physicists who he funded, and let me defend some people, you know? Especially like in the academic realms, when people are funding you, you should do some due diligence. They deserve guilt on that. But like, a lot of people come in and fund you, and then they get access. And if you don't do your due diligence, you get caught with your pants down. And maybe some people, by the way, actually are scumbags, and we're in on some of this shit with them, to be clear.
Actually caught with their pants down.
For sure. Exactly. But then there's other people who, you know, very well could have been innocent, but they're going to have to answer for this for the rest of their life. And, you know, you just see the connections he had and what he was doing. And his emails back and forth with Peter Thiel are wild, bro. So there's a very interesting email that's so... The nonchalance with which Jeffrey says this, followed by the nonchalance with which Peter Thiel answers the email, was the most telling part to me.
Oh, dude, I think he's my top, dude. I think he's my top man that I can't even look at that guy, man.
Okay.
Pull it on up.
This is from Sunday, February 28th, 2016, which...
This is Elon.
By the way, hold on. This is when Trump was becoming the guy in the GOP. This is right before the small hands dick debate, which was at the beginning of March. I believe that was March 3rd, 2016. So this is a few days before.
Dude, you and your dates.
And Peter Thiel ended up being one of Trump's, like, his big funder. Okay? All right. So
he was quote unquote
Jeffrey Epstein. As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has $160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world, prehistoric products. It can wait. Good luck in China. I'll be in Europe again the 20th to 28th, then the island. So if you want to come around the world going west, come to the island. Or if you would like to meet in Saudi at the end of the month. Peter Thiel casually responds to that. Same day, 8 hours later, he goes, certainly not in Saudi. Just think I will avoid the Middle East for the next decade or so. Should be back on East Coast in late April or May, sometime in New York City or on island then. You know, it's a conspiracy theorist dream.
Yeah, this is like Christmas, dude.
It's Christmas for them.
It's like giving like a fucking junkie just a fat bag of heroin and being like, dude, we got more where this came from.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to probably overdose on conspiracy from this.
Also, I do have to say...
what?
This feels appropriate.
Oh, dude, I saw this. Yeah. Respect.
Picture of Dick Cheney. No blackmailing, no island. Not even in the files. He bombed brown people just for the love of the game.
I mean, he just loved this shit, dude.
Also one of the biggest
lesson there.
To ever live. Lesson there. There was also a 2002 email that you do pull up on JWorld, and it's got redactions on it. So it is in the files. I don't know what this is. But the nephew's name is redacted. The from has just words and not an at. And it's to Ghislaine Maxwell, but her email is redacted here. From 2002. Hi, Aunt Ghislaine. I hope you are well. I look forward to seeing you. When that might be, however, I'm not sure. I'll email you when I'm able to do something with you. As for my, quote, wish list, unquote, of, quote, actresses I'd like to do nasty things to, unquote, which she says that in a way as if she has asked him this already. Though not complete, would probably look something like this. Number 1, Natalie Portman. Number 2, possibly Jennifer Love Hewitt. Number 3, Denise Richards. As for things I'd like to do, whether it be in London, New York, New Mexico, or the Caribbean, not quite sure at all. I will look into it. In New York, besides see the sights, possibly some theater or something of that sort. Anyway, I've got to run. Thank you very much for offering all these things. All these things only add up to the reason I would be there to see you, your nephew, so-and-so. That's a very suspect email to me, but it's in the files.
What the fuck?
Now, that could be like a troll email. Or it's not. And it's like, that's just a normal thing to talk about with your nephew.
Dude, what the
My wish list of actresses I'd like to do nasty things to.
Yeah, but adding up to the reason I would be there to see you. So I wonder if her nephew was banging her too.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's real fucked up, dude.
Oh, it's biblical.
This shit's fucked up. This shit's been going on fucking since the beginning of time. Dude, how disgusting is that?
The other thing is that I also looked this up. You would see in a lot of these emails randomly like an equals C2.
Yeah, you mentioned that
and
before.
I Googled it, and apparently it's some sort of coding typo when things are translated. I don't know. Maybe people can answer in the comments who know more about this. I don't know if that means like when the files were uploaded from the server to the government, it changed certain characters by accident. Or if they did it on their end by accident.
No, that happens to me all the time too when I'm moving like writing through different, like if I move it from LibreOffice to Google Drive. So yeah, it makes sense.
And the attacks, by the way, the attacks against Thomas Massie by Trump are also disgraceful. Thomas Massie, if you are looking at it from the perspective of someone who's like judging, is someone really a Republican or whatever? Thomas Massie is voted with Republicans 91% of the time. Okay, he is a very, what you would call strong conservative.
So he could be gotten to
person in Congress. To quote Thomas Massie, the 9% in which he hasn't involves covering for pedophiles, elite billionaires, funding foreign wars, and deading our nation away. And then he walked off.
Mic drop.
Pretty savage.
It's pretty cool.
They put like Led Zeppelin behind it for the walk-off. That was kind of sick. But Trump responded because they're putting, including Mary Madelson, all the very pro-Israel crowd are putting in millions of dollars against him in Kentucky, trying to beat him, which I really do think is just going to make him win more. I actually, as someone who dislikes all politicians, I actually hope I'm right about that, because this is him and Ro Khanna are the two guys really fucking pushing this, and I appreciate that. So I hope the two of them stay in office where they are.
But you think the voting's going to be real?
Trump's, don't go there.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, they won't be there.
People are saying, Trump put out on February 2nd, people are saying that Thomas Massie became a liberal because his new wife, reminder, Thomas Massie lost his wife a year and a half ago. He just remarried.
Christ, dude. These people
his
are
new
ruthless.
wife, blessed be their marriage, is supposedly a radical left flamethrower, which, by the way, fact check on this, she's voted for Donald Trump 3 times. Just to be clear, they did fact check that. This new union all went so fast that maybe he didn't know what he was getting into, but nevertheless, he is an absolutely terrible and unreliable Republican, perhaps a rhino, or maybe even worse. Ed Galrain, a farmer and war hero, is running against Massie. He is a high-quality individual, and there's no candidate for Congress that would be better. He's running because he realizes Thomas Massie has been totally disloyal to the President of the United States and the Republican Party. He never votes for us. He always goes with Democrats. Massie is a complete and total disaster. We must make sure he loses big. That's a complete lie. Bro. This is a complete. I feel like
it's like such.
I feel like Brian Stelter,
Soviet Russia type.
But like
shit.
It's actually true. Like that's a complete lie. Objectively, like innocent people don't behave like that. I know people don't want to hear that.
No, it's fucking true. Say it.
Innocent people don't behave like that.
No. It's just so funny because like you just like, and then they'll say that Gavin Newsom has no respect. It's so funny. Everyone's lost their ways.
Also, this email I did verify on jmail.world. And
oh God, what does that mean?
This is from June 6, 2011, from Tom Pritzker of the billionaire Pritzker family, one of the richest families in the world, to Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
I am in a remote valley of Afghanistan, and then in parentheses, it's my birthday wish. With boys with toys.
Oh my God.
Spent time with Petraeus, referring to General Petraeus, yesterday, and he loaned me a chopper. Actually 2, with 1 as a backup. Can't call till tomorrow. Now, I don't want to believe that means what I think it means, but we all know, it's been well documented in this studio by our friends who are Tier 1 operators in Afghanistan, what goes on in Afghanistan. as it relates to young boys.
Oh, dude. What the fuck?
These people are just saying it on email. They're just. By the way, I remind you, even in 2011, actually, way before that, you get sued in a civil case for, a parking meter. Your email can be discovered and put into a court case.
Dude, that is
like
weird.
Somewhere Carlo Gambino and Lucky Luciano and Frank fucking Costello are looking at this going, oh my God.
Thank God.
Like this is why they wouldn't even talk on a phone.
They wouldn't be able to do anything now.
Be
over.
Yeah, and then there was an email that this was sinister. Jeffrey Epstein sent an email on March 15, 2018 to someone who is redacted. I'm going to actually take a shot on this one. I think he sent this to Ehud Barak.
All right.
I believe he sent this to Ehud Barak. I have no proof of that. Zero proof. That's strictly speculation. Zero evidence. But I think he sent it to him. And the subject is he was passed away. Meaning like they whacked him. Robert Maxwell threatened Mossad.
Nice.
He told them that unless they gave him 400 million euros to save his crumbling empire, he would expose all he had done for them. In that time, and I do want to add here, for context, Jeffrey is putting quotes around what he's saying here, so he is quoting someone.
Quoting someone, yeah.
Yes. I have to give him that on this one if we're going to look at it objectively.
Hey, straight shooter.
In that time, he had free access to Margaret Thatcher's Downing Street, Ronald Reagan's White House, to the Kremlin, and to the corridors of power throughout Europe. Maxwell passed on all the secrets he learned to Mossad in Tel Aviv. In turn, they tolerated his excesses, vanities, and insatiable appetite for a luxurious lifestyle and women. He told his controllers who they should target and how they should do it. He appointed himself as Israel's unofficial ambassador to the Soviet bloc. It's very interesting that he sends a no-context email with just quotes. No personal context added.
He's feeding someone lines.
Yes. One of the final emails Jeffrey Epstein sent before he was arrested on, I want to say that was July 7th, 2019, returning from Paris, was an email. He was in constant communication with Steve Bannon. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But look at this email, Deef. He sent it to himself. You want to read this?
Yeah, I'll read this. Mandelson, Barnaby Summers Watson, Axel Botstein, Kareem Terje, Pritzker Edelman, Seth Lloyd, Martin Novak Minsky, Tata Suskind, Strominger Cross, Hopkins, Randall, Coslin, Gardner Gates, Thiel, Hoffman, Hoysinovsky, Sheldrake, Solsberger, Gestale, Joshabak, Joy Ito, HBJ Burge, Miro, Anaz Rafat, Sultan, Nathan Feigenbaum, Ramachandran, Goldberg.
Ramachandran, by the way, you know who that is?
No.
That's Balan's mentor.
Oh, wow.
Keep going.
Goldberg, Damasio, Shristakis, Brockman Hillis, Kaufman, Seligman, Gould, Sachs, John Kerry, George Mitchell, Mandelbrot. Wow, Mandelbrot, dude. Chomsky, Barak.
It's not that Barak. 2 R's.
2 R's. Barak and Barak.
Yeah.
Zagat, Nathan, Brian Green, Yao, E.O. Wilson, Prince Andrews, Jaglin, Clinton Pastrana, Richardson,
Governor of New Mexico.
Leahy, Jarecki, Schumer, Ranieri, Wahid, Mongolia, Gambit, Ehud, Jacques Lang, Woody, Allen, Churkin, Sergey,
Google founder.
Rumler,
Kathy Rumler.
Weingarten, Amabani, Rothschild, Dershowitz, Ken Stark, Karp, Alex Karp, Dubai Castro, Popal Queen, Press King PM, Mandelson Belier, Mete, Middlefafre, Gergen, Malusinine, Margarita Ovitz, Barak, Mabuto, Khashoggi, Rockefeller. Holy crap.
I don't know what it means. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. The list, just to give you an idea, like a quick kind of image, if you will.
Interesting.
On Gmail, this is the Steve Bannon list. Look at how long this is. This is all from 2019.
526 emails. Wow.
And Bannon would just send him.
Or threads. 526 threads.
Yeah.
One of those threads had 137 emails on it.
Yeah, so let me just.
Holy
I got some
crap.
highlights. So Bannon sends on March 12th, 2019. He quotes an article. In sex offender plea deal case, White House declines to back Labor Secretary Acosta, and then sends the link to the article. And Jeffrey then responds, how do you read it? And Bannon goes, like you are trying to make amends. Do some good. Bannon on August 19th, 2018, sends an article to Jeffrey Epstein. And he goes, that's more like it. We need you to find the Exorcist hat. Do you think you might want to come to Europe? Bannon responds, yes, but let's discuss. There is a crazed jihad against you. I've never seen anything like it, and I've seen a lot. Jeffrey Epstein goes, yes, no worry. November too important to risk diversion. Mission first. Steve Bannon goes, exactly. What is the mission? And he goes, but somebody big has you in the gun sights. Steve Bannon,
Dude.
And then there's a bunch of text messages, by the way, that were released. Steve Bannon was, I don't care what you say. He wasn't just using this guy for a documentary or whatever. Steve Bannon was friends with this guy. Was friends with this guy straight up. He has connections that go back to him that you can paint all the way to the 80s. I've talked about what Henry Abbott reported. Shout out to Henry Abbott reporting this in 2020 and 2021. Years ago, he had it dead to rights. Huge shout out to that guy. I have said for years to people, and I really have stayed away from this on air. I don't like getting involved in the drama, but you can attest to this, Steve, and Alessi will attest to this like crazy. Alessi, by the way, has like a 3-part series he's dropping on his channel on YouTube, Alessi Alaman, on Bannon, that he's done based off a lot of things that I've discussed with him over the years. And then he went in and did all, all the primary sourcing and everything. And, he called me when he was pretty much done. And he's just like, this is the darkest thing I've ever looked at. Because I have told people for years that I think Steve Bannon is the most dangerous known man in America. I've said that. It has nothing to do with his politics. Nothing to do with his politics. But he is not a media guy. This is someone, I don't know what or for who. I can't really put my finger on it, but this is an intelligence person. 100%. Most of the time, as in 99.999999999% of the time, when some fucking content creator or commentator is accused of being a spy, they're not. They're all some level of a useful idiot. We all are at some point, okay? Some just all the time and some once in a while when you don't catch it. It's just a part of being in the business. They're not spies, though. Even people that you revile and you're certain are. They're not. Steve Bannon is. I have been clear on this for years. And that was a good take. It was a really good take.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. So he's, I don't know. He's one guy I've never been able to say, oh, this, that, yeah, that. But something. He you know what I would describe him as? He's a Robert Maxwell type character. That's how I describe him.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of work in a lot of places.
Yep, for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. That's how I would describe Steve Bannon. So, yeah, I'm going nuclear. I don't give a fuck. This is Patreon.
Dude, go fucking nuke.
We're going nuclear on people who are clearly not on the right side of history here. That's another phrase that's been cringe in the past when people say that. In this case, it is not cringe. This is a very simple thing. You're either calling out dudes who are supporting, mass sex trafficking, or you're not. And if you're not, God help you.
I feel like this is also a big wake up for just like the average layman.
That's the thing, though.
Like this is like a thing that is like inherently been happening forever. Like back to fucking, King Solomon had fucking 700 wives.
Yeah. Well, you're right about. I wasn't even thinking about it from that, but
Nero, fucking Tiberius, Caligula, like this. All these people have been doing the things that all these crazy fuckers have been doing forever since the beginning of time.
It's frustrating. I mean, look, we can go on and on about this. There's people we didn't even get to. Larry Summers, I mentioned him briefly. There's a crazy email about him explaining how the Vatican really works and how the Pope Benedict, when Pope Benedict was stepping down, he's sending this email to Jeffrey Epstein is not really, it's not really about that. It's tied to the Vatican Bank and how the Vatican Bank basically hides money for bad people around the world, which is just so casual as the president of Harvard and ex-Treasury secretary is just like pointing that out in a fucking email.
I mean, dude, that's like... The Great Schism might be when religion actually got hijacked for that type of shit.
Yeah. Brian Johnson also was on like one email with him and talking about meeting up with him in New York, and he's addressed it directly, did it in kind of a bit of an autistic way, saying way too much. But I think he's trying to rewrite how much he thought Jeffrey was sinister in the 10-minute Zoom meeting they ended up having. But I do think that, I do believe Brian Johnson did, because there's no other emails. It sounds like it never went past that, and he got connected with him. And one thing he did say is he said he was connected to Jeffrey by some very legitimate people. Mm-hmm. And he said one thing that wasn't a part of my docket at the time was like going on and checking if someone was a registered sex offender. I could see that.
I get that.
I could see that. It was 9 years after he was convicted, and I don't think Brian was in those circles as much in like 2008. Like he was, not as big. So I could see that. Peter Attia, I don't even want to start on that. Peter Attia was best friends with this guy. His emails were some that I were certain were fake when I saw the screenshots, and then they were verified. They were all real. Like people have seen that. You can read the articles on it that summarize it. But the thing about Peter Attia is these emails were all 2015, 2016, 2017. The audacity it takes to go on shows like Joe Rogan and that whole network and blow the fuck up, in 2020, 2021, 2022. On some of the biggest shows in the world that openly discuss this case all the time, knowing that you were good friends with this guy and knowing you got some cringe-ass emails with him.
Hubris, bro. All these fuckers, man.
Fucking
hubris.
Insane. And then the last one I do want to mention before we go, Bill Gates, there's a crazy email with Jeffrey Epstein.
I saw that one. Actually, yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein's talking about some STD that he contracted with some girl, I think on the island, but, with Epstein. And Bill Gates was freaking out because he was married to Melinda at the time, and he gave it to Melinda. And so he was trying to find some concoction that he could slip in her drink to help fight back against it. And poor Melinda Gates had to, respond to this on an interview and was just, stunned. And it's just... I can't keep talking about this. It just, you see how worked up I get. This is such a red line for me, and I don't give a fuck. This is Democrats, Republicans. It's everybody, man. It's got nothing to do.
It's even some Green Party folks involved.
It's got nothing to do with politics, and it's a civilizational threat of a story.
Yeah, this is mainstream.
That's the thing. If it is allowed to keep spiraling to more and more layers and things are figured out, and I'm not being dramatic, it's the stuff that if you were able to actually get people like my dad to really lock in and understand it, you get enough people to do that, you know,
They should just figure
it's a
out.
threat.
They got to figure out a way to like work in stuff to like every Netflix show and to like, it's like, oh, my fucking mom won't. She's just watching Real Housewives again, but then for like 6 minutes in Real Housewives, all their dialogue, they're like, wait, why are they talking about Dershowitz?
Right.
I should look into that. Sorry, I was trying
no.
trying to end on a funny note.
No,
I bombed.
Deef, that's fine with me. I think we got it. I think I've had enough. But we'll see what keeps coming. I know Thomas Massie and Rokon are pushing for more to come out. So
Yeah.
let's see if that happens. But
Next Friday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. It'll come out. You know. Friday after. Wait, when's the next holiday? When's the next long weekend?
always a Friday.
It'll probably be Easter that it'll come out.
Always a Friday. All right, everybody. Thank you. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you so much, as always, for watching this episode, guys. Before you leave, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it.